Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, as you know, I like to share with you positive news stories about people protecting themselves with legally owned firearms from filthy criminals. And since the media only focuses on the negative stories because they want to disarm us, I figured let me put my best foot forward and contribute to solutions instead of the problem. Now, in Islam, you're allowed to have a weapon. You don't have to be at the whims of criminals. There is nothing in Sharia law that says you're not allowed to own a firearm. And historically, women would always have something to defend themselves. And a smart woman, I'd argue, always makes sure that she is prepared to lethally defend herself and her children while her husband's away at work. If you look up home invasions, they're not very pretty. So you always have to be prepared and never assume that you're so special a crime will never happen to you. And you have to take matters into your own hands to defend yourself because the police show up after the crime has occurred, not before. Now, I'm going to read this here with you. We're a little bit behind in reading this. I have a couple of the magazines piled up. But this is the November 2022 news story, okay? When an uninvited neighbor joined an Independence Day party in Surprise in Arizona on July 3rd, the homeowners allowed him to mingle. However, as several people were gathered in the kitchen, the neighbor suddenly pulled out a gun and began firing, first striking the male homeowner in the head. The man's 7-month pregnant wife, believing him to be dead, grabbed their 2 daughters and barricaded them and their children in a room deep in the house, telling them to hide in the closet and not make a peep if you hear loud noises. Now, to pause right there, you're pregnant and a crazy dude has just attacked your husband. 2 other women attempted to fight the crazed neighbor and also screamed for the male homeowner. Knowing he was a concealed carrier, but apparently not knowing the extent of his wounds, the homeowner heard the cries and was able to get up, draw his firearm, and shoot the suspect 4 times in the chest, killing him. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. He's allowed to have a firearm. A crazy person who probably has an illegal weapon was taken out by someone who has a legal weapon. You see the thing here going on? It's easy to get an illegal weapon. They'll always exist, no matter what. The cartels and the mafias and the gangs and the triads will always have a way of smuggling weapons. Okay? And you cannot sit here and be so stupid and think that the politicians are not bribed by cartels. Okay? For drugs and whatever. There will always be weapons in the streets. And they'll always find a way to hurt you. Might as well have proper training and defend yourself. The male homeowner suffered a fractured jaw and torn eardrum, plus lost his sense of smell in his entire left eye. Man, that must be brutal losing your sense of smell. Oh, that would be horrible. The 2 other partygoers died and 3 others were injured in the unprovoked attack. There's a quote here. "If I didn't have my gun with me, everyone in the house would have died." The homeowner said, "The news vans would have been front and center, but because I did, you never even heard about it," he added. Okay, so again, I'm going to show this for the camera because if you want to see the citation, okay, you can always look up those news stories. It's called The Armed Citizen, but I call it my reading of it The Safe Citizen. Let's continue to the next story. In Lincoln County, Missouri, during the early morning hours of Tuesday, July 19th, police received a call about a man threatening people at one residence. But the man had left before officers arrived. However, as they instigated that incident, they received another call about a man breaking into a home and assaulting 2 men there. So breaking into a home. When they arrived at that scene, they found that a neighbor there had also been attacked. Again, as they investigated, they received another disturbance call. This time, that a man had attempted to hit someone with his car and had been shot. The man, who was later found to be connected to each of these disturbances, died of his injuries in the hospital. The armed citizen was not charged. Now look at that. Someone breaks into your home. A home invasion. You're able to defend yourself. Very, very important. Next one. A 52-year-old man was at home visiting with a friend just before 8 a.m. on August 13th when he discovered a male trespasser on his property in Emerald Township, Ohio, and called police. So trespassers are quite creepy. Now, it is really dangerous to not deal with trespassers because they're scoping out your property. They might squat. You have to be very careful with people who are invading your private land. Very scary. Before deputies could arrive, key note there, the trespasser assaulted the homeowner's friend. The homeowner attempted to stop the assault, telling the unknown man multiple times to stop or he would shoot him. The assailant, however, then directed his attack at the homeowner, who shot him in the hip, stopping the attack. The investigation was still ongoing, but the sheriff noted that officers believed the 28-year-old trespasser to have been under the influence of illegal drugs. Now, I want you to know something quick here. Liberals want to legalize, tax, and regulate all drugs. Even certain libertarians, unfortunately, also want to legalize all drugs. So, the mental illness that comes from extreme drug use will be way more apparent in society. And if the liberals succeed in taking away your right to self-defense through incremental banning and bureaucracy, right? You will be at the whims of drug-addicted zombies who hurt themselves and will hurt you because their brain is just out of this world, right? They're hallucinating on meth. Well, now they can just munch around on you and go nuts. A lot of people have mental freakouts, and liberals say they shouldn't be shot, they should be coddled, taken into a psychological ward, all the butterfly stuff they say. Yet, when it comes down to it and a crazy person is trying to hurt you, you should not feel sorry for that person because they're supposedly high. You need to defend yourself. So this man, using his Second Amendment right, is an example of defending yourself against a drug addict. Okay? The property owner and his friend were presented with a stranger acting erratically, and the man eventually became violent by physically assaulting someone, the sheriff noted. I don't want to see people being shot, but I wholeheartedly believe people have a right to protect themselves. And in this case, it appears to be a justified self-defense situation. HometownStations.com, Lima, Ohio. I agree. So a trespasser coming on your property. We had one where there was a home invasion. And then another one where someone was kind enough to invite them to a little cookout, a little barbecue, and the person goes nuts. So you see so many examples already of people minding their own business and a weirdo comes to them. And where police could not get to you in time. Okay? A mother in Milwaukee, Wisconsin was showering the morning of August 15th when she heard her children, a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, start screaming. Oh, as a mom, it is almost like an instinct that women could say. Every time we take showers, parents, our ears are so heavily tuned that even every sound, every scream, we are so alert and we want to have our shower time cut short. That's why we always appreciate it when our husband's home, you can take a nice long hot shower with aromatherapy and just relax. But when you're with the kiddos, there's an alertness that women have that they think every bump and sound is what's going on. I better hurry up, right? How terrifying to be naked in the shower, right? And then an intruder comes. Subhanallah. I mean, awful. She raced to her bedroom for her gun and ran dripping wet. into the hall. What a freaking legend. What a freaking legend. You see that? She busts out of the shower, just total badass, has a gat, and is able to just shoot at this filthy criminal. Into the hallway to find a male intruder there. Oh, could you imagine? You're in the shower, your children are screaming, you know you got a firearm, you bust into your room, grab it, aim it, you see the criminal. I want women to actually think about that. Muslim women should know how to have self-defense. Red pill Muslim men think women are too stupid to know how to use a firearm, but they never think about what will happen if they're at work and their wife are left to the devices. It's almost like they would prefer their woman be dead than to have her have lessons on firearm safety. And if you're living in a place with crime, and crime can go everywhere, and you just want to be prepared, that is a smart move. Once you get confidence up, once you get your skill sets achieved in a certain level, you'll be just fine. There's excellent, high-quality trained instructors, and it's an investment to know how to defend yourself against a criminal. Do not lay down and let a criminal hurt you. You need to defend yourself. I mean, come on. If I corner a rat will bite my finger. If I try to take a baby chick from a chicken, she don't want it, she's going to handle business and she's going to peck me. Heck, sometimes I reach my hand into my parrot's cage and they don't want to let me take their food bowl. So you're telling me birds have more courage than a Muslim woman? It don't make no sense, right? Being religious doesn't mean being a pacifist who just opens up their body and just lets every criminal do whatever they like and whatever they please with. You don't cower to the devil. You defeat the devil. And criminals work for the devil. Alright? Her 2 dogs had attacked the man. Oh, that's great. But he wouldn't stop coming, she told reporters, so she shot him multiple times, killing him. Good. Take out the trash. Zero sympathy. You come into a mother's home, terrify her children, exit this reality. No mercy. Zero. The woman was arrested but released a few hours later, though the investigation is still ongoing. Neighbors lauded her as a hero, with one neighbor noting that she did what any mother would do, defending her children. Now, it's sad that she got arrested, but I'm sure they let her go. Because, what are you to do? A crazy dude's in your house. But imagine what would have happened. Men are stronger than women. Number 1. You're in the shower, very vulnerable. Okay? Very vulnerable. You don't got your underwear on. You don't got your socks on. There's no time to think. You're cold. Getting out of there. You don't have time to dry off. And there's somebody who's trying to harm your children. Okay? Stories like this happen all the time. And people who are pretending to be the most pious people in the world forget the raw reality of this realm, that it is very violent and vicious. Doesn't mean you walk around paranoid. Rather, it means you prepare for any circumstance, and you show bravery and courage. It's sad that only the Muslim red pill dudes think that women are weak, dumb, and soft, and that they have to just be flowers, and if a criminal busts in, she just gotta cry and prostrate herself on the ground. No. I'm sure there are plenty of Muslim women who are fully capable of grabbing that Glock, putting some hollow points in that guy, and sending him back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Christian women in the 17th century, 18th century, and the 19th century, when they were in America, on homesteads, they all knew how to use a firearm. So many. It's so popular in American Western art. Alright? So to me, it's hilarious how we're losing that common sense reality of not wanting to defend ourselves. It's really bizarre. Here's the last one. A man in San Antonio, Texas, was arriving home at his apartment complex in the early morning hours of Friday, August 19th, when he noted a silver Toyota Prius circling the parking lot. Before he was able to get into his apartment, 3 men allegedly got out of the car, demanding he hand over valuables and pointing guns at the man. The resident drew his own firearm and shot one of the men in the neck, causing the others to flee. The robber, who had been shot later, died of his injuries. Police are seeking the other 2. The armed citizen was not charged with a crime. Now here, a robbery. The guy's minding his own business, but he was able to take one of those filthy criminals out. The coddling of criminals and the excuse making for criminality is leading to more crime. For people, oh, they just want bread. They're suffering. Feel sorry for them. They might change their life. No. When evil preys upon the good, we must defend the good. We never make excuses for criminals. So I don't feel nothing for when a criminal who tries to hurt an innocent person is forced to exit this realm. Disobey the law, try to hurt people, try to use violence against innocent people, provoke people in ways that cause harm to society and stuff like that. It's just intense. But again, we had so many examples here. And notice how there was an example of early in the morning, showering in the morning. People always think crimes happen at night, at 12, 1 a.m., 3 a.m. No, it can happen anytime. All right? So be vigilant, be aware. If you're going to be a stay-at-home mom and you're going to live in a below-average area, you got to protect yourself, even if you have a nice house. There's crazy people who see your nice house and wonder, when you're going to not be there so they can try to break in and steal your stuff and hurt you if you're sleeping in the bed or whatever. Do not back down to criminals. Do not back down to evil. Stand in courage and bravery. That's not feminism. It's not feminism to defend your children. Okay? It's not feminine to lay on the ground and let a criminal assault you in front of your kids and then assault your kids. You understand? Animals defend their babies. If I go to a dog and I try to take its pup, you think she's just going to let me? Sometimes some docile, weak dogs do, but on average they won't. A bear is the most famous animal that'll tear your face off. If I go to a crocodile's nest and I try to take her eggs in front of her, she's going to handle business. All right? I go to an elephant, I try to take its baby, it's going to handle business. Right? Be like that. Always defend your children. You are the guardian of the property. You're the guardian of the home while your husband is away. You need to protect everything. And part of that, I believe, is knowing how to have self-defense tools in an effective, professional, and educated manner. Don't be a coward. Don't be weak. Don't be frail. Don't be brittle. No, rise to the occasion and stand in strength and trust in Allah, but also know that you have to physically take care of business. An angel's not going to come down from the sky to defend your special butt. There's plenty of innocent people who get harmed, and plenty of people who, by the permission of Allah, were able to help save others, and others who help save themselves by the permission of Allah. Be on the side that stands in honor and dignity and strength, not those who make excuses for the weakening of society. I hope you enjoyed. By the way, if you want to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. I post a lot of interesting personal stories on there, cooking stuff, animal stuff, humor, you name it. So consider joining, and hope to see you there.